Hi everyone, this is Vinod here and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing about Nvidia's quarterly results. So there are four things that we will be covering in today's video. So first one is we'll be looking at Nvidia's quarterly results and we'll be looking at the positives that are there in this quarterly results. And the third one is we look at, despite the very good results, why is Nvidia stock dropping? And in the fourth part, we'll look at how what the chart is trying to tell us. We'll do a technical analysis of the chart, Nvidia's chart, and we'll try to find out what the chart is trying to tell us. So Nvidia's result has been one of the most expected ones because it is a very huge company. It has a significant weight in both the S&P 500 index as well as the Nasdaq index, and it's a very big company. It's a $3 trillion company, and it's one of the fastest companies to move from $2 trillion to $3 trillion. So there was a lot of expectations or from everybody, like from the analysts, from the market participants, from the news channels, everybody, they were waiting for this particular results to come out, and we'll be discussing that results in today's video. So the first one is that the quarterly results have been very good. As you can see from here, it recorded a quarterly revenue of $30 billion. It was up by 15% from quarter one and almost 122% from a year ago. And especially the major revenue driver, which is the data center revenue, is around 26.3 billion, and it grew by 16% and almost like 154% from a year ago. So data center is the main contributor for Nvidia's revenues, mainly driven by the AI trend, because a lot of companies like Facebook, like Meta, Google, and all of these companies are investing heavily in the data centers. So that was one of the main drivers of Nvidia's revenues. Now let's look at the numbers. This is sources Barron's. So you can see here Nvidia did beat the market expectations on both earnings per share as well as revenue. So on earnings per share, it came out to be 68 cents versus market expectation of 65, and the revenue was also more than what the market expected. So the market expectation was 28.7 billion, but Nvidia came out with 30 billion and up by almost 122%. So it did beat the market expectations on both EPS as well as revenue. And the company also announced that it would raise the size of the buyback that it's been doing. Like, it is raising it to 50 billion, which is like a small number when compared to its market cap of more than 3 trillion. So as you can see, these are very good numbers from Nvidia. So let's now look at the positives. So the first one is that So the first positive is that it did beat the revenue and EPS expectations from the market, and the outlook that was given, that is for the current quarter, is also very good, as well as for the next quarter. As you can see from here, the revenue is expected to be around 32.5 billion for the next quarter, and Nvidia also expects to maintain like the same almost the same gross margins as well, and they also confirmed that they will have similar market share of the AI chips. There have been a number of news around other players capturing Nvidia's market share, but it doesn't look like it's happening right now. So Nvidia is still continuing to dominate the AI chips market and data center revenues. And the major positive that I took from the revenue, from the earnings call as well as from the presentation, was that there is a huge demand for the Blackwell chips, which is the next generation of AI chips that is going to come from Nvidia. And earlier this month, there were some issues around or concerns around there being design flaws around the Blackwell chip, and that was the reason for the sharp correction in Nvidia's price. It almost came down to $98 or $90, I think, a few weeks back, and this was the main driver of the main concern for the price correction was the uncertainty around the Blackwell's design. But then today they clarified that it's not an issue with the design itself, but it's only the issue with the production of the chips, so which reduced fears a little bit. And they have also said that they have already started shipping this new generation of AI chips to some of their current customers and partners, which is a very good sign. So these were the major positives. That is, it beat the market expectations. The outlook is very good, and the fears around the design flaw, that they said that there is no design flaw in the chip, that's only a production issue, and they've already started saying that they have a strong demand for this new generation of chips. So those were the major positives from the Nvidia's call, as well as from the quarterly presentation. As you can see, the Nvidia did come out with very good numbers as well as beat market expectations, but still the stock price seems to be falling down. And we'll now look at some of the reasons why the stock price, Nvidia stock price, is coming down. So the first reason why Nvidia stock price is falling down is because this is the number one reason. It did beat market expectations, but it didn't beat by much. So it was a surprise, but the surprise wasn't big enough. Like, investors have gotten used to getting bigger surprises in the previous quarters. As we did say at the start of this video, the expectations from the market was already sky high, and Nvidia did beat those expectations, but still the element of surprise wasn't big enough for a price move to the upside. So that's the reason why we are seeing the price come down even after such good numbers and after beating market expectations. So the number one reason is that it did beat the market expectations. It did surprise the market a bit, but it wasn't a bigger surprise that could move the price in the upward direction. So that's the number one reason. The second reason is the concern around the margins. There has been a slight decline around 3% in the margins. This could be due to the suppliers increasing their input costs, or could be the reason why the margins seems to be having declined. So this is the second important reason why the stock price did not move. Like, there are concerns around the margins as well. But in their outlook, they did say that they expect to maintain similar 75%. In their outlook, they did mention that they expect around similar margins, around 75% is what they are expecting. So which is a pretty good margin in this particular industry. There were also some other concerns around the Blackwell demand. So in the conference call, the analysts were asking for how much is the demand, and the management refused to put a number or on the revenues that might come from Blackwell. They just gave a qualitative measure saying that they are expecting strong demand, and they've already started seeing strong demand, but they didn't put a number on this demand or how much revenue they can expect from Blackwell. So that is one of the concerns. Like, they refused to give a number for Blackwell demand and revenue. And there are also concerns around whether there will be continued investments in data centers. Given that this AI trend, there was considered around the concerns around the return on investment on AI. So will the same level of capex spending continue from the big players, or they continue to invest in AI infrastructure? That was another concern. So these are the reasons why we saw that Nvidia stock price moving down or heading. One of the important things to take away from this recent price action is that though Nvidia did beat the market expectations and did come out with very good numbers, we have to know that markets are always forward looking. So because there are concerns around the revenue margins in future, and whether the same level of AI investment and investment in data center would continue, that's the reason why the stock price is heading south. So always remember that market is always forward looking. It does not matter about what happened in the past, but it always looks, and it's a discounting machine, and it's always trying to discount what will happen in the future. Now, coming back to what I feel is that I've already mentioned this on Twitter as well. The Gen AI trend is just getting started, and what we are seeing now is just the first wave. The first wave is where the infrastructure providers like semiconductor chip manufacturers like Nvidia, Qualcomm, and cloud providers like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon with their Amazon Web Services, Azure, and they are the ones, they are laying the foundation for this AI trend. And the second wave would be coming from the application providers, the likes of Microsoft, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Adobe, who will be using these AI services to reduce their costs and as well as increase their productivity. So the second wave is what we'll see a major change. So I think the Nvidia is well positioned in this particular market in the infrastructure space. And yeah, now let us look at the chart, what and try to understand what the chart is trying to. In this final section, we'll do a technical analysis of Nvidia's chart on a daily time frame. As you can see from here, I did post this on TradingView before the earnings call. I did say that the stock could go in either direction. If it did beat the market expectations by a big margin, then we could have broken out of this symmetrical triangle. But since it did beat by only a small element of surprise, we are seeing that the price is correcting, but it's not even correcting by much. Like it moved around 6 or 7% down, which is a very small percentage when you compare to the yearly gains that Nvidia has made. And the pattern that we are seeing here, the symmetrical triangle, is very similar to the pattern that we saw in the earlier breakout as well. The previous quarters, the element of surprise was very large. We'll have to wait and watch whether Nvidia's price would further correct and consolidate for a few more weeks or months before it tries to move much higher. It's one of the biggest players in the AI trend and in the data center revenues, and it has a very huge market share. And currently there don't seem to be any challengers or any of the chip makers to challenge Nvidia's dominance in this particular space. And the demand for GPU data center is very strong, and that's my personal opinion. Of course, you need to consult with your own financial advisor before you make any financial decisions. Yeah, this is what the chart is trying to tell us. I think for a few days or a few weeks, we might see that the price might further correct and might correct for and consolidate in the narrow range before we break out to the next breakout and move higher. If you did learn something new today, please do consider subscribing to this channel. Thank you